All right, let's try this again because my microphone died partway through the reading. So it is Saturday, so naturally we are going to be reading about Anubis to help help people learn who it is that he actually is instead of all of the misinformation that is out there because of Hollywood and media and all of the things, right? So this is Anubis, Ancient Egypt's Lord of Death and Protection by Charlie Larson. I just love this book, you guys. So we're going to go dive in and we're looking at Meet Anubis today. Anubis is one of the oldest gods in the Egyptian pantheon, so ancient that evidence indicates that he may predate many other Egyptian deities. Thus his origins are difficult to pinpoint. Depictions of him in full form date as far back as 3100 BCE, possibly earlier. Moreover, the associations between jackals and death date back even farther than that, perhaps as far back as 6000 BCE. Worship of Anubis predates the worship of Osiris as Lord of Death, as well as the rise and popularity of Osiris and his siblings, Isis, Nephthys, and Set. To the best of our knowledge, Anubis was originally worshipped as the god of the dead and the underworld, and at a significantly earlier date than many Egyptian gods of the dead. He is sometimes described as the son of Ra, god of the sun, and Haset, the goddess depicted as the cow that gifted milk to humanity, and who is sometimes considered to be an aspect of the goddess Hathor, mother goddess, and goddess of love, fertility, and beauty. And you guys, I'm a sucker for the older myths before Anubis kind of got his role kind of got switched around when Osiris became god of the dead. And it's funny because the Anubis card and the Hathor card came out today when I'm reading this, and I've already had like other little signs and messages about what I use all of the myths, but like the origin stories that I kind of tie to more, and it's just kind of like a funny not like funny, but another sign for me, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, in the tales written by Greek philosopher and historian Plutarch, Anubis is described as a son of Nephthys and Osiris, who is raised by Osiris and Isis. We'll revisit this myth in greater detail in chapter 2. Some alternate myths claim he is the son of Set and Nephthys. Others connect him to the sun, the earth, to life, to death, to name just a few of his associations. These conflicting origin stories give some insight into how incredibly complex and influential a deity he is. Most place Anubis' origins in Sinopolis, ancient Greek for city of dogs, which is now known as the modern-day city of Quays. Wepawet, another canid-headed deity, was later associated with Anubis. Wepawet, usually identified as a wolf, originated in the city then called Lysopolis, ancient Greek for city of wolves, today known as Azut. As I will discuss in later chapters, Anubis and Wepawet were closely connected and were often depicted opposite one another. Anubis held dominion over elaborate funerary grounds known as necropoli, cities of the dead. Places like Saqqara were, and sorry if I'm butchering these names, y'all, where 8 million mummified dogs have been found to be buried. It is thought that these were not the result of sacrifices, but rather offerings of deceased pets that were given to Anubis so that he would protect them in the afterlife. Animals and their spiritual significance were incredibly important in ancient Egypt, as we can see from the fact that the gods were connected to the animals and that the animals were often mummified and buried in the same way that kings and queens were, sometimes even alongside them. The myths surrounding Osiris, initially the royal god of agriculture and civilization, who later became the god of the underworld, and Isis, goddess of healing and magic, changed the way the Egyptians worshipped Anubis. When Osiris took on his more popular aspect as the god of underworld and rebirth, Anubis' role in turn shifted to that of the god of mummification and embalming. When this happened, his origin story shifted as well, his parents being identified as either Osiris and Nephthys, a river goddess later associated with death and mourning, or Nephthys and Set, god of chaos and storms. Although this may seem like a demotion, so to speak, his role and importance were still vitally important, as We all know that the mummification and embalming were an important part of funerary rites at this time. In his new role, Anubis was petitioned to watch over and guide the souls of the dead on their journey from the physical realm to the afterlife. Osiris took on a rather passive role of figurehead, while Anubis did all of the work, guiding the dead, protecting them, and presiding over the judgment of their souls. In a sense, Osiris became like a boss who made his subordinates do all the work while he sits in his office and takes all the credit. After this shift occurred, Anubis's role in the afterlife, the one with which we are most familiar today, became the most prominent and more popular. In addition to his role as protector and usher of souls, he presided over the Hall of Judgment, also known as the Hall of Two Truths, where souls went upon death to be judged. This ceremony, known as the weighing of the heart, involved the deceased heart being weighed against the feather of Ma'at, which represented order, balance, truth, integrity, and justice in the universe. Sometimes this was depicted in goddess form, a woman with outstretched wings wearing a white ostrich feather on her head. The souls who were deemed unbalanced were fed to Amit the Devourer, a demon with the front of a lion, the back of a hippo, and the head of a crocodile. This horrible creature, who was at the beck and call of Anubis, consumed the souls he found wanting. While Osiris oversaw this whole process, it was Anubis who actually performed the ceremony. This is why you often see him holding a set of scales or standing near them. Now, next week, guys, we're getting into worship and influence. Any commentary or just, anything that you want to talk about regarding Anubis, go ahead, put it in the comments. I would love to discuss with you guys. And of course, anything that is like disrespectful from rude people will be deleted. Y'all will be blocked. We're not doing that. But anyways, yeah, so if y'all want to discuss Anubis, then go ahead and put it in the comments. And other than that, I will see you next week for Worship and Influence.